Hey there! In this lesson, we're talking about equivalent ratios, and we're going to talk specifically about how to get equivalent ratios by using multiplication. There are 3 things you should be able to do by the end of this lesson. Number 1, you should be able to say what equivalent ratios are. Number 2, you should be able to say what that word proportional means. And number 3, you should be able to say how to find equivalent ratios. So make sure you've got a paper and pencil ready because we're doing this right now, coming up on the Math Review. So first of all, what are equivalent ratios? Well, equivalent ratios are ratios that have the same values. And to get equivalent ratios, you're going to have to multiply or divide the ratio by the same number. And like it says here, even though it says multiply or divide, in this lesson, we're focusing specifically on how to do it by using multiplication. So for example, let's say we have this small portion of a piano keyboard. And I want to know the ratio of black keys to white keys. Well, how many black keys do you see in this piano portion? Well, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first number in our ratio will be the number 5 because there are 5 black keys in this piano keyboard. And we're going to be using the fraction notation. This means the bottom number will be the number of white keys. And how many white keys do you see in this keyboard? Well, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the bottom number in our ratio will be 7 because there are 7 white keys in this keyboard. So now let's take this ratio and use multiplication to create an equivalent ratio. That means I have to multiply the top number and the bottom number by the same exact value. Let's say I decided to multiply by 2. So I'll multiply the top of the ratio by 2, and I'll multiply the bottom of the ratio by 2. 5 times 2 equals 10. And since the top is talking about black keys, I can just write black keys here. Over 7 times 2. And 7 times 2 is 14. And the bottom of the ratio is talking about the white keys in our piano keyboard. So I'll write white keys. So what does this mean? This means I took the 5 black keys and the 7 white keys in my piano keyboard and I doubled them. Since I doubled them, it's like I took this whole set of keys from the piano and I created a whole nother one. So now I should have 10 black keys all together and 14 white keys all together. So let's see if that's true. We can actually count them out now. So I'll continue where I left off. We've got 5 black keys, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're correct. When we double up the number of black keys, we've got 10 black keys. And how about the number of white keys in this piano keyboard? Well, let's count them. I left off at 7, so we'll start here at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So our ratio is absolutely right. So we would say that these two ratios, 5 to 7 and 10 to 14, are proportional. This word proportional just means that you have two ratios that are equivalent in value. So let's try one more example. This time, let's create equivalent ratios by multiplying by the number 3. So I'll multiply the top of our ratio by 3 and the bottom of our ratio by 3. 5 times 3 equals 15. And what are we talking about in the top of the ratio? Well, we're talking about the number of black keys. So I'll write 15 black keys. We're using fraction notation, so I'll write the line right under that first number. And then I'll multiply the bottom of the ratio by 3. 7 times 3 equals 21. And what are we talking about in the bottom of the ratio? We're talking about white keys. So I'll write that here. So we could say that the ratio 5 to 7 is equivalent to the ratio 15 to 21. And what this means is that since I have 5 black keys to 7 white keys, that is equivalent to 15 black keys to 21 white keys. In fact, all we're doing is tripling the first ratio because we're multiplying both values by 3. So let's put a third keyboard in. And if we numbered that, it would look like this. Which also shows that the ratio 5 to 7 is equivalent to 15 to 21. And again, we could also say that the ratio 5 to 7 is proportional to 15 to 21 since they're equivalent. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Math Review.